Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we are going over 100 British slang words. And the importance of this is to become familiar with some of the words that people may say around the UK and how they use that word. Now, British English and Australian English and American English are three different types of English language, and each country has their own variation and slang. So this session today is 100 British slang words. I think I'll start it off, Dennis. What do you think?
Go for it, buddy. I think that you've got the first one to start with. All right.
All right. So you may have seen this on TV shows where they say or all right. All right. If someone in the UK says all right, that means how are you? It's a common familiar greeting. You can say Dennis, all right, and that's almost like in Australia. How's it going? Another English slang word is arse. Now, A-R-S-E. This could mean a number of different things, but it basically means your bottom.
It does. I mean, if I was to say, Michael, you're an arse, how do we reference that one?
You're calling me, you're saying that I'm a bottom.
Yeah. I mean, now the next word is arse over tit. So it literally is what it is, right? Because, okay, another word is your tit, which is your breasts. And if your ass is over your tit, it means you've fallen over. So, which means arse over tit.
And generally it's referring to drunk. So if someone has been drinking, that's what I'll say, that person's arse over tit.
Yeah. Yep. And the next word, I mean, arseold, it basically means you did fall over.
Yeah.
So
I guess, if you have fallen over, if you have arseholed yourself, according to the British slang, then you've made an ass over yourself. Now, that is a donkey, ass. It is a bit of a curse word that they use it as, stop being an ass.
Yeah.
But, or you're a donkey. So you've been warned.
And it's kind of a similar tone to, the first A-R-S-E that you said, don't be one, so it's a bit tricky. Now, let's move on to B, Bagsy. I mean, come on, we've kind of played games, we've done things, but Bagsy is like saying, I bags it. Like Bagsy, as if to say, I bags being the captain of the sports team. Or, or Bagsy, you might say bags, you're it. Or, but it's when you're claiming something, should we say.
Yep. Next word is bloke, a man. I guess what in American English might also be called as a dude. Yeah. Next word, backy.
Yeah, backy.
Like backy, as in tobacco.
Tobacco. It's pretty easy to work that one out, isn't it? Backy. Now the next one's a bit, we're talking about other words we've used. Bog. This one's used in Australia as well. It basically means your poo. Which segues into the next word really well too.
It's a toilet. Bog is a toilet. You're busting for the bog.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Or I want to do a bog as well.
So, well, in Australia.
Yeah, true.
In Australia.
Okay. That's a fair point. So, I mean, then you've got the next one, which is interesting. It's a bog roll, which is toilet roll.
Or toilet paper.
Toilet paper, toilet roll.
Next word is botched. Something that has not gone according to plan. So that job's been botched. That's a botched job. They botched their makeup. The next word is balmy. So if someone calls you this, they're not being kind. It means you're bonkers. The balmy army who come to Australia and follow their cricket team around, or they go everywhere, but they follow the cricket team around. The balmy army, the crazy army.
And that suits the next word, which is bonkers, right? Because that means you're a bit crazy, you're bonkers to do that. Then we say that the Barmy Army are bonkers because when they're at a sports game, supporting their team that's playing Australia or whoever, they are literally crazy, yelling, screaming at the teams. So it's a good one. Cheesed off?
Yeah.
We get cheesed off.
We get cheesed off, and if you saw the Barmy Army, you would be cheesed off.
And it's kind of a way of saying, you're getting a bit frustrated or irritated at something.
Now, I like the next word, chips. Now, to everyone in Australia, chips could be a packet of chips, hot chips, French fries are chips, but in the UK, chips are deep fried strips of potato, and the chunky ones though. The thin ones in the UK are called French fries, but chips are the thick ones.
Thick cut.
The what you would get in a packet, like salt and vinegar or sour cream, would be called crisps. Okay, big difference. Next word is chock-a-block. A place that's really busy. So like a road, a street, a shop that's got a lot of people in there. So I'm not going to go in there. That is chock-a-block, as in it's full.
Or my stomach, I feel chock-a-block because you've eaten too much, or I'm chuffed. That's kind of, it's an expression of, wow, I'm chuffed. Like I'm feeling very honoured. I feel chuffed that, Michael, you've said those really kind words to me. That's really nice that you've said that. A codswap. Total load of rubbish. It's a total load of rubbish.
You're only calling people out. What a load of codswap.
Yeah.
It's almost like the next word, which is daft, a bit stupid, not particularly offensive, just mildly silly. So, Dennis, stop being daft. Or like if you've seen Notting Hill, the film Notting Hill with Hugh Grant, which I absolutely love, and I might actually watch it tonight, where Spike goes, daft prick.
Now, the next one I can relate to, Michael, because, you're very dishy. A lot of people say that you're a good-looking guy, right? Like,
you've got me like Thor. They call me Thor. I get it.
You get Thor, and who do I get? John English, right? From
Rowan Atkinson.
Rowan Atkinson.
Yeah, got it. And
which is a bit dodgy.
That rolls into the next word quite well. You do look a little bit dodgy. Dodgy is when something is suspicious or questionable. I guess an American equivalent is shady, or an Australian term would be dodgy too.
Yeah.
But dodgy people normally carry a lot of dosh. Now, dosh.
That goes to the next word.
The next word being dosh is about money, cash. It's like the different types of currency. There are some really great British films, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, where they have the Cockney slang and, versatile British words. And they also use words like the next one, which is dog's bollocks. It's a strange but surprisingly popular term. If something is exceptionally good, known as the dog's bollocks.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy peasy to say these words, Michael, which is the next word, right? It's easy peasy. And it really means how it sounds. Like, it's easy peasy. It's just they throw in that second word that rhymes with the first one, and it just basically means it's really easy.
Yep.
Not just super easy. Faff. Faff is like fluffing around. It's kind of got a it's pleasurable, like you're having fun.
People talking around the water cooler, having a faff around.
Yeah, it's a word that you don't hear that often. I mean, a lot of these words you hear a lot.
I mean, talk about a word you don't hear that often anymore is fag. I remember, like, we would have the lollies, the candy lollies, fag, which is a cigarette. And still in the UK, they would say, I'm going to go out and have a fag. And it's just a cigarette. And I guess now people will then say that, well, the next word is, when people say, I'm going to get a cigarette or a fag, they say fiddlesticks, which is almost like a harmless swear word, so that you wouldn't say a swear word. Fiddlesticks. Whoopsie daisies, fiddlesticks.
Fiddlesticks. It's kind of like a word you would say if you forgot something, like, oh, fiddlesticks, It can mean a couple of things, like a happiness, or a forgot, or you're surprised as well. Filch, Michael. It sounds like a fish.
or something else, but it's really just something just simply to steal. They filch that. You know, I'm
Yeah.
going to filch that. It's like flog, which is the next word. To sell
Well,
something.
well, that's right. I mean, to flog is to be flogged. You know, I'll flog someone is to hit someone. But
Well, that's in Australia.
Australia, that's right. I was just showing the difference, right? To flog someone, but flog is to sell something, to flog it off.
Yeah. And then the next word is fluke. So fluke is by chance. Dennis, how did you do that? You fluked it. How did you win that race? You fluked it. You know, when you do a Stephen Bradbury, you fluked it.
It was a fluke that I won that race.
It definitely was. You know, you did. And then I guess if we're talking about races, what do you do with races? You have a flutter, which is an equivalent flutter, which is like another term making a bet or a wager.
It's an interesting word to have a flutter because, it doesn't sound like I'm going to have a bet, have a flutter. Yeah,
and I guess that takes us on to the next word, which is
full of beans.
Which is what Dennis is, full of
beans.
Yes, beans, full of beans. Dennis is full of beans. I've been told worse, but you're full of beans.
And people say I'm full of beans because sometimes, I've got an answer for everything, right? Or I've got an excuse for everything. So they say, he's full of beans.
I'm not sure those are those reasons. I think, you could be, pigeoned with the next word, which is gallivanting, strutting or striding around with a seamlessly endless supply of confidence.
Well, I mean, I would have thought gallivanting is like hashtag where's Darren? Oh, he's gallivanting around somewhere.
Well, yeah, when he's doing his famous dance move, yes, of course, but he's normally walking off having a gander, which is the next word.
Yeah, having a gander, to have a look, to look around, which is really cool. Give us a bell, it's like, Darren, you're off having a gander, but give us a bell when you get back. Right?
Yep.
Which means to pick up the phone, give us a call, or yell out, I suppose, it could mean as well.
But you know what? Like when he does actually call us, we are, next word, gobsmacked. Which is the next word, which is completely and utterly awestruck in amazement. So you've seen your sport team win or something phenomenal has happened. You are gobsmacked. It's like,
yeah,
wow.
Yeah, and I mean, and if you are unsure of what's going on around, or you seem like you don't know, your surroundings, what's that word, Michael? That leads us to the next one when you're unsure and you don't know.
Gormless. Gormless isn't really a word that we would use in Australia at all. Gormless, like you said, someone who has a little clue or idea about what's going on around them.
The next one is one that I think we use. I think it's used in America. I think it's used in a lot of countries, this one.
Everywhere. Yeah.
If your football team has lost, you are feeling?
Gutted. Totally gutted. There's been moments, right, like where, we've been out and things have happened and I have felt gutted.
I feel gutted that I can't get on an aeroplane and travel to another country.
I'm gutted that I can't go see my sports team live, and I would normally go and do that numerous times each year.
Yeah. So why don't you haggle your way around it?
I was going to take that word and give you the next one. Okay, you run with it, haggle. I'll take the next one.
Okay. It's like, a real estate agent needs to be able to haggle, which is, it's like a definition of bantering, like to
negotiating.
Yeah, which is a really good one.
Now, the next word, I'm just going to say it, hanky. If someone is fooling around doing something hanky-panky, they're doing some hanky-panky. They're making out.
Yeah.
And I guess sometimes, next word, hard. That is hard, but not like that's hard. When people in Britain say hard, it's normally like a self-inflicted state of mind after several pints of beer. That man is hard. He is a hard man.
Yeah. And hard lines as well. It's a way of saying, oh wow, that's bad luck. Hard times, hard lines. It's a similar thing. Now, you're having a hard time if you're in Her Majesty's pleasure, right? Because if somebody says, now this is really important in the real estate industry, because if they've put on the application that the last 2 years they've been at Her Majesty's pleasure, it means they've been in prison. They've been in jail. That's not a good thing. It sounds like it's a good thing, but it's
not a good thing at all. It would almost be as fun as honking. Honking is when you are violently sick. So if you're throwing up, which is the Australian term, or honking, you're being violently sick. It is honking. Honking.
It's interesting because honking, again, if we go into the Australian way of what honking means, it's hooting a horn. It's got it's certainly interesting. A jammy.
Jammy, yep.
Jammy.
Being on the good side of the side of good fortune.
Yeah, jammy. So it's which is an interesting one. Now, cassie, is that how you pronounce it? Cassie?
More cassie. Like the A's are pronounced a bit different in Britain.
Yeah, it is. It's a different one, which is a British slang for the toilet.
Yep. Don't forget your bog roll. And after they've gone to the toilet, after they've been in there, they go and have a kip. A kip is a nap. Which is nice. Or the next word, knees up. A proper British party full of warm beer, music. Just don't end up honking at the end of it. So knees up.
Well, Michael, on the next one, if you've been partying too hard, you might want to leg it, right? And to leg it, you're getting out of there. Because most of the time when you've had too many drinks, you've said the wrong thing to somebody, you need to leg it out of there, right?
We would normally say ghosting. We'd say, Michael was just ghosted. He's vanished.
Many a times we've been out and it's time to go, and all of a sudden Michael's gone. He's already back in his hotel room asleep while we're still saying goodbye to everyone,
I just disappear.
Unless he's having a lurgy.
Well, so lurgy is like sick. Feeling a bit lurgy, got a lurgy. Yep. It's just that thing that's like hanging around like a cold or flu. The next one, I guess, is universal. Well, not so much universal, more so in Britain and Australia. Next word is
mate.
Mate.
Yeah,
buddy,
mate.
Friend, pal.
And I think this one is used a lot, Australia and England, with the war and the camaraderie between the two countries. G'day, mate, is something that the Australians would say, which means hello to a good friend. So a mate is a friend, so somebody that's close to you, which is a really good one. Mufti. Mufti?
Yep, mufti, military term that means casual or civilian clothes.
Yeah, so at school we used to have mufti day, we used to call it. So it was, you could wear whatever you wanted. I went to a private school, so mufti day meant you could wear non-uniform.
Ah.
Mufti day.
Well, I guess they all made all you kids out to be mugs then, next word. If they told you that you were having a mufti day or mufti day, a mug. Yep. So when someone says you're a mug, it means you're gullible. So you'll believe anything. He's a mug.
And I might tell you to shut your mush, right? Which is, mush is the next word, which means mouth, If you're being rude to me, I tell you to shut your mush. So mush meaning mouth.
Well, then if you tell me to do that, I would call you a naff. And naff is like something that's a little bit uncool. So he's a naff. And because he's teasing me, telling me to shut my mush, I'll say he's a naff.
Yeah, so that would mean that you're narked, which is another way of saying that you're cheesed off. I'm narked, so you're not happy with something that I've said or done, or done a Bradbury, or something's happened, which is interesting.
That is true. Nick, to steal, if you nick something.
Yeah, I mean, you'd be narked if I nicked something from you.
It's also like if you've been caught, he's been nicked.
Ah, yeah. And
then if you were nicked, the next word is nitwit, which means you're an idiot.
Yeah,
He's
you're
a nitwit.
You got caught, or you're a nitwit for doing it, right?
I like the next one because it's true. It's not used that much in Australia, but I know the UK uses it. Nosh, eating. That's a good nosh.
Yeah,
Good
I mean
tasty
that's
meal.
something we like to eat a lot of nosh. Yeah, the borough markets is a good example of that, right?
But it's not everyone's cup of tea. So when someone says that's not my cup of tea, it's just a situation the British use for, it doesn't bring pleasure. That's not my thing. I'm not really that into that. It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah, which is it's an interesting one that the next word naught or
No, it's naught.
naught, which means
Naught.
like a nothing, right?
Means
Yeah,
nothing.
naught. It's just you're emphasizing no.
Yeah, exactly. But it's more accent based. I think it's more accent based. Next word is nut, which means to headbutt someone, right? He just been nutted. He just nutted him.
Yeah.
To nut him. To nut someone.
Yep. But, I thought that the terminology, you're a nutter, that's a British word. You're a nutter means you're a crazy one. You're crazy for doing that. And it could be that, you're really, you might do something really daring, something out there that no one else would do. And people might say, oh, you're a nutter. So, or which is an interesting one. Now let's move on to the next letter, the next word.
Off colour. Off colour. It means you're sick. I'm feeling a bit off colour. I'm feeling a bit off today. So off colour. It's a little bit different to the next word, which is off your trolley. So someone who is normally crazy, that person's off their trolley. The Mad Hatter was off his trolley.
And you would say, if you are off your trolley, you'd say, on your bike.
Which is a polite way of telling someone to get out, move on.
Yeah, take off, on your bike. Now, not that I'm trying to sound British.
Now, the next word is always tricky and confusing to people, like some people in Australia, some people in America, pants. So people would say, like in Australia or America, pants. Pants would be like jeans, but pants in Britain is your undies. Undies is also undergarments.
Yep.
Pants, like to America, would be trousers. Okay, so trousers and pants are two different things.
Yeah, and the next one, like parky, is similar. It's like clothes. It's like a parka, which is like a jacket or a jumper, a parky. If it's cold outside, don't forget your parky. So it's something that you'd want to get onto, because if you don't, you would get pear-shaped, or you would feel pear-shaped.
Yeah, that's like when something hasn't gone to plan. So that has gone pear-shaped.
That's right, which means it hasn't really gone to plan. But if it has, it's a piece of cake.
It's a piece of cake. When something is easy peasy, it's not really referencing food. It just means piece of cake. Easy, simple.
Now, if you had a nice piece of cake there, Michael, and you weren't looking and you turned away, I might pinch some.
Yes.
Which is the next word, right? To pinch is like another way of saying to steal, to take when the person's not looking.
And it's also a term of negotiation too. He pinched that. He got a good deal on that.
Yeah. He stole that. That's a great deal. Yeah.
Now the next word is confusing between America and Britain, which is
pissed.
So that doesn't mean that you're pissed off at someone like it would be like in America and most of Australia. Australia kind of has that as, yes, they're annoyed at someone when they say pissed off, but the word pissed means blind drunk. That person is pissed.
They've had too much alcohol.
I guess you could say they're plastered, which is the next word, which is, they haven't been put behind a plaster wall. They are also drunk.
And Michael, when you're plastered, you tend to tell porkies.
I don't.
Right? The stories get exaggerated.
No.
Right? And
that's the next word. That's the next word. Porkies.
Porkies is the next word. It's like you could be stretching the truth. If Michael's telling me a story about something that he's done, I'd say, oh, that's porkies, meaning I don't believe him. I think he's lying. It's just a nicer term of saying it, right?
So if I said I'm doing a stretch in porridge, that means I'm doing time in prison. But that would be a porky because I've never been in prison. So this word is porridge. Not like the porridge that you would eat, the cereal, but porridge. And I guess most people that are going to be in prison, you could call them a bit of a prat, which is a bit of a stupid person word. You know, that person's behaving like a prat.
Yeah, it also, you could be prattling around, meaning you're walking around like a fool. What are you prattling around for? So it's just another way of saying, prat, or, and if someone is, or they're talking porkies and talking silly, you might say the next thing, Michael, which is?
Put a sock in it.
So think about it. If I literally put a sock in Michael's mouth, that would mean he couldn't talk anymore. So I'm telling him to shut up, to be quiet, don't talk anymore. You've said it, you've said too much. And I might say, hey, Michael, give me a quid and I'll take the sock out.
Which is the next word, quid, slang for a British pound. We have a dollar, America has a buck. In Britain, they have a quid, which is a pound.
It's interesting that, every country, we've got our own words. It's a little bit rubbish, isn't it, Michael?
It is a little bit rubbish, but, in Britain, rubbish is what you throw into the bin. It's not trash or garbage, but rubbish. So we say rubbish and we say all three, trash, garbage, and rubbish. But rubbish in the UK means the items that you throw into a bin.
Yeah. Now, this particular word, it doesn't sound like what it actually is. Like, if you said to me, Michael, Dennis, that's scummy, I would think it's not. You're not saying it's a nice thing.
Scrummy, not scummy.
Scrummy.
Scummy would be like not a nice thing, but scrummy is
scrummy.
Remember that pastry shop in Notting Hill that we went to? You could say that those pastries were scrummy, as in scrumptious.
Michael, we should have went back there because that was potentially the best.
Well,
they had those little the little bacon and egg thing. Remember, that was really scrummy.
It was okay. It was good at the time
because we were starving, right? We probably already walked about 10 kilometres. So
yeah. It was a good start, and it was a good start. The next word is skiv. To skiv off work is almost like to wag. Like in Australia, we say wag in school. They would say to skiv.
To take time away from something that you're meant to be at.
For a country and a language, they sure have a lot of different words for this one outcome. The next one is sloshed. So that is another word for drunk, blotto, pissed,
too much to drink,
plastered. So they have so many words to describe someone being drunk. It's crazy.
Yeah. Sod's Law is an interesting one. Oh, we've missed one. How can we forget these ones? I've bypassed a few there, so let's bring it back. Smarmy.
A person, usually a male, too smooth for their own good and comes across not as charming, but oozing disgust.
Yeah, it's somebody that you and I, if it's a guy, we wouldn't have a snog with them, right? To have a snog.
That's the next word, snog.
It is. The next word, snog, is I would have a snog with a girl, because I like girls. Not that it's wrong with anything else, but to have a snog is to have a kiss.
Well, yes. Next word is snookered. Now, you would think that it's about, the game of snooker, but it really just means that you're in a situation from where you can't see any escape. They're snookered. Checkmate.
Which is like the game snookered when you can't make another move. Checkmate, you can't make another move, Yep. Now, let's go to the Sod's Law.
When something can go wrong, it will. Sod's Law. I think we say in other parts is Murphy's Law. When something will go wrong, it will go wrong.
Yeah. Okay, now this tricky one here, it's one that we tend to say, shirty.
Irritable. That person's shirty. Darren's shirty. Dennis is shirty. Michael's shirty.
Yep. The next one's an obvious one. Spend a penny, to spend some money.
No, it's not, because in the UK, you spend a penny is when you go to the bathroom and you'd actually pay the attendant in the bathroom some money
Yeah, to use a toilet.
to use a toilet, public toilets. You know, and like
Yeah.
at some of the tube and train stations, there's a coin operated turnstile. You have to put money in to go to the toilet because they have people manning them, cleaning them, and so that's where the term "spend a penny."
Spend a penny.
Yep.
Are
Now,
you feeling a bit squiffy?
squiffy, another word to describe on the way to being drunk. I'm feeling a bit squiffy.
I'm feeling
Now, be
tipsy.
careful, Dennis, because the more squiffy you get, there's a higher probability of you getting starkers. Right? Starkers, nude, naked, not wearing any clothes at all.
Yes, starkers. Yes, and that's what happens, and that's why you've got to leg it when you've started having too much to drink, right? Before you go starkers, to get out of there. It's a tricky one. Strop.
So I guess like if you're in a bit of a mood, if you are not getting your own way and you're out in the public and you're throwing your hands up and you'd say that person's having a strop.
And if someone's having a strop, they might swear, which is the next word, right?
We've seen a lot of people swear having a strop.
Yeah, and that basically means to say a word that's not nice, that you shouldn't say in public, should we say, which a swear word, okay?
Swear word, naughty word.
Every language. Yeah, every language. This is one that, I think I brought my kids up on this one, Michael.
We use this all the time. It's one of the first words we teach our kids.
Yeah.
Ta. It just means thank you.
Yeah, it's a nice way of saying it. Toodle pip is the next one, which is an old English word that means goodbye. Toodle pip, see you later.
Yep, goodbye.
Yeah.
Twee, which is a small dainty, quaint. It's a British term to describe lots of aspects of life in the UK. Twee.
Yeah. Now, if you're taking the biscuit, it's kind of like the beginning of, if I was to say to Michael, oh, he's taking the biscuit, it means the luck is starting to come. He's taking the biscuit. He's starting to push your luck. And
I guess like the one that we're normally familiar with is take the cake. So, well, I've seen Dennis do this before, but this takes the cake.
Now, Michael, you're starting to waffle on a bit there.
I do.
To waffle on, you're talking about something too long. Like Michael waffles on about the Essendon football team.
I like, though, when I'm waffling, to give it a welly. Just got to say it. When I waffle, I like to welly, which means you've given it a really good go.
You've given it a good go. But when everything goes wrong, Michael, you have a wobbly.
Oh, a big wobbler. Big wobbler. Big wobbler.
A wobbler. So, which means now I've got to be careful. I'm saying other slang words here. It's like, you're chucking a tantrum, or, spitting the dummy is another way of saying it in Australia. But
I think that's the least of the things that you've been accused of doing. If anything, you've been accused of yakking too much, which means that he talks too much. And we all know Dennis, and he does yak on all the time.
Michael, I haven't heard you say that in yonks.
Well, I haven't been to many places in yonks either.
And it feels like it's going to be yonks before we get on an aeroplane again, which is, it's another word for a long time, It's going to be, it feels like it's been yonks since we started these 100 words, but we have completed 100 words.
We have completed 100 words British slang. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time to go through this list with us. Please make sure you watch as many times as you have to become familiar with some of these words, which you may hear when working with people that live in the UK.
Excellent. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.